As promised, you see them on the Pursuit channel. The show's called The Chase. Lee and Travis with The Chase are here with us today. As a matter of fact, if you would like to meet them in person, you'll be there at Rough and Tough in Chelsea, Alabama, coming up this Saturday. Those you listen to us out of the Birmingham area, Chelsea, Alabama's Rough and Tough, from 9 to 11 local time this Saturday. Our very own Speedy and the real Greg Burgess will be there with Lee and Travis, and they'll be there, of course, to meet you in person. And I understand they're even going to teach Speedy and Greg how to pull the bow back, and they're just going to compete against each other. So I'll tell you what.
That'll be interesting.
Travis, Lee, you can have your hands full teaching them how to get ready. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You know, Travis, the problem is I didn't get to the third page here where I saw your last name. See, I just thought I didn't know. I know Travis, Rick.
You know Travis Creekball?
I do. I didn't know it was Travis of this Travis, Lee and Travis.
Now, how do you know Travis?
We got a lot of common friends, don't we?
We do.
Travis,
we rode around, and we're actually neighbors in one part of the world. So
yeah, we are hunting land neighbors.
Isn't that funny?
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out where all the turkeys went.
I was about to say, I bet you get a lot of pictures of Bubba on your game cam.
That's who that was.
So tell us the Lee and Travis story.
Travis, I always call Travis when I see that red truck on his land. He goes, "Fine, it's my dad."
Yes,
you know.
So tell us the story. How do we end up on the Pursuit channel with our own show and going around and shooting archery and
it's even further than this, Rick. I mean, when the Travis I knew was a stockbroker.
Right.
Still is.
Yeah, I still run a covered call hedge fund portfolio.
I was about to say, now that's an arrow that is still pointed at the ground.
Not my arrow.
Yeah, I hear you. So tell us the story. How did you end up going from, you both had different jobs and do different things, but how did you end up doing this?
Well, it's kind of it goes back to when I saw Bubba a few years ago. Not that he started the show, but
Bubba inspired the chase.
Look, I've inspired a lot of things, but not this, Rick. Not anything this positive.
Yeah. The last thing you inspired was a waitress at Waffle House.
Rick, you better clarify.
Well, just talking about eating.
That was a joke.
You inspire them by being there and giving them a fresh word every day.
There you
go. With your syrup.
Yep.
So what happened?
Well, about 3 years ago, May had been 3 years ago, right? 3 days before we had our baby girl named Grayton, I met Bubba. We went and he rode around on our property down there in Coosa County, and we had a great, almost a whole day
goofing
deal.
off.
And that's when I found out that Bubba is full commentary all the time.
Oh, yes.
Because he got very graphic on what I was going to see in a few days when that
Almost
little baby.
ruined it for him.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But anyway, we had a tragedy, and she passed away 6 weeks later.
She was at Children's Hospital for 6 weeks.
Yeah, and that was in 2008, right?
That's right.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Lee, I was dealing with the funeral arrangements, the memorial arrangements and stuff, and Lee was hanging back, and I probably should let Lee tell this part because I wasn't there.
The funeral home director over there across from Hunter Street that we were meeting with, cute little Italian guy, and he said 83% of couples who lose children don't make it. And I sat back there at that time and just going through everything. I thought, well, Travis isn't going to shoe shop with me. So I've got to do something or got to find a commonality. And we already had the cabin in Coosa County and land, and I'd gun hunted with him and certainly loved to fish. And as we healed those 2 weeks after Grayton passed away, or just tried to make some sense of it in the service that we had there at Rockford Baptist Church, I'd put a hook in every brim's mouth, I think, in our fund. And Travis said, I'm looking at upgrading my bow. Why don't you try to shoot mine? Because I'd always been very just afraid of bow. It's a big investment to buy a bow and get it outfitted. What if I don't like it? Or, gosh, strong enough to pull one back and actually, kill an animal or pass through an animal. And anyway, so he tuned it down for me or dialed it down, and I fell absolutely in love with it. So I got my own bow, and then someone approached us. We were approached, and you can tell the rest how we.
Yeah, well, she started. What you do is you go get her a bow, and then you start teaching. And then you want to teach her how to hunt, so we buy a camera. And I just would go. It's just fun. And it started off with her filming me first, which is a great strategy if you have a loved one or children or a wife or anybody to get involved. You can actually hunt together. It's harder to film together because you got two people, but you're together, and that's the important part. And that's how we kind of got into it, and then we ran into John Campbell and Jeremy Liu of the Campbell Outdoor Challenge. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It airs on Versus 12 to 1 on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Central Time. And asked us to be on the show with them. Well, that was 3 weeks. We had 3 weeks to say yes or no or what are we doing. And the way we saw it is, when you lose your child, you struggle with why. And if you spend a lot of time on why you're going to just ruin yourself. So Lee is, she says, God wouldn't give us anything that he didn't think we could handle.
Right.
So we feel like he's steering us in a direction. And so we said, yes, let's just do it. We're blind. By the way, at that time, if you remember the economy, and Bank of America bought out Merrill Lynch, and I was with Merrill Lynch at the time. And we had to make some decisions there. So we changed firms. And we got sold our business to another practice, and so we have the timing right. Let's just do it. And within 6 weeks, we met Scott Schultz, a scent blocker at Robinson Outdoors, and he approached us. And of course, Lee, you can see her. She's walking around a trade show in Columbus, Ohio, and people are looking at me going, "What? How did that happen?"
Bubba and I get that look.
Yeah, we're familiar with that.
Yeah, every time we're with our wives, everybody looks at us that way.
Yeah, when Scott came up to us, and he's a great friend. We've been so blessed to make these friends in this industry. And he says, "Y'all are creating a buzz." And in my head, I'm going, "She's creating a buzz."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so he said, "I really want y'all to start a TV show, and I'd like to be the title sponsor. And we call it Scent Blockers, and you come up the rest." And we spent the next few months trying to figure out a name. And you know what? If you think that hard, and you come up with The Chase. How hard was that?
It was a lot of wasted time.
It was.
Yeah. Because every time you go out, that's what you're doing.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the next is a whirlwind. Now you got to figure out how you do that. You need to find a network.
Yep.
You got to know the time spot. You've got to hire a cameraman and a producer. And all of a sudden you have a lot of money invested in it and go, wait a minute, I thought somebody else was starting the show.
Right.
But it's been an
Talking about a hedge fund. There you go.
That's right. Literal hedges.
That's right. It's been an amazing adventure, and we've had a lot of fun, and we have built great relationships, like with John Marshall here with NuFletch.
And Travis is notorious for his toys, whether it be a big camera that looks like National Geographic or then a big four-wheeler and then a big bus. And so that's allowed us. Now we are blessed to have a about-to-be 2-year-old little boy named Gray. And so we load up on the bus, and it's right with all of our sponsors, a rolling billboard, 43-foot bus pulling a Jeep. So it's allowed us to go.
Do you park that over at UBS?
Well, we come back. We'll talk more with Lee and Travis, and we'll also talk to John Marshall that he just mentioned, who's really on the cutting edge of new technology when it comes to what you can do with the old bow. And we'll talk with him from NuFletch coming up. All the websites, all the information is there. And then we'll actually do some shooting here at the Broadcast Plaza and Teleport.
Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
And, of course, it's just, it's your common everyday story of how a portfolio manager and a financial advisor become game show host as they're out shooting the bow. And Travis and Lee are husband and wife, the Creek Bombs, and their show has really picked up some momentum. If you'd like to meet them in person, along with Speedy and Greg from the Rick and Bubba Show, you can see them all coming up this Saturday from 9 till 11. Speedy and Greg will be with them. They'll be there 9 till 6 at Rough and Tough Outdoors in Chelsea, Alabama. Find out all the details by going to rickandbubba.com.
Now, Travis, I just want to be sure I got this story right. I meet you, and then we're just a few months after that, and you're signing autographs everywhere. I just want to be sure I got this story right.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
We're skipping some big details in there, I know, but I just want to be sure I had it in order.
And people just don't want to come meet you when you're a portfolio manager. It's not the same thing.
A lot of times they're trying to get their hands around your neck.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very important people realize the risk that I take going to a outdoor store where guns are sold as a portfolio manager.
Especially right now.
First of all, I'd like to ask you what kind of bow you use. But while we're talking, could you help me with some financial advice as well? You can do it all at the same time.
That's right.
Speaking of the bow, NuFletch Archery, new sponsor there of the Chase. John Marshall's here. He's the CEO and the inventor of NuFletch Archery. And we have his website there at NuFletch.com. That's NuFletch. there on show notes at rickandbubba.com. John, welcome to the program.
Hey, great to be here, man.
When you say the inventor of NuFletch, tell me what you've come up with here.
Okay. First off, I want to go back to that last comment. I've not seen you sign an autograph yet. I'm just saying.
I noticed on the poster, if you look at the poster,
that's what you call leading with your best foot.
Yeah, right. The poster of their appearance, you can barely see Travis's name at one point. There is no picture of Travis whatsoever.
Yeah. So, Lee is up front, and then Travis, if you look real close, Rick, in between the R and the C there, he's about 75 yards behind.
Yeah, there he is, if you'll look. But no picture of Travis there. But tell us about that's wise. If we had somebody that we could put on our posters other than us, we would too. So what have you come up with here for bow hunters everywhere?
It is. Let me tell you a little bit about the product. I met a lady through Durave, Norway Industries, and when I was developing the product, she made a statement to me, and I'll tell you, it stuck. She said, if you can invent a product...
Did you say it stuck?
It stuck.
But go ahead.
It stuck good.
Yeah.
She said, if you can invent a product that'll actually give an archer, either on the range or in the field, a better chance of being successful, you got a winner. And she looked at my product, and she said, and I can tell you right now, I believe you got a winner. And I took that to heart. That's a family that's been around over 50 years in the business, covered a lot of ground. She knows exactly what she's talking about. And so we took it
to a woman.
That's right.
Discernment. They have great discernment.
Don't rely on their clock, but we'll
not the best.
Blessed in some areas, lacking in others.
That's right. Look, that's right. Equal doesn't mean same. Time management, not so much.
That's right. But what she did, she told me, she said, "Hey, look, we want to get involved. We want to build the vein for this product. We think you do have the future of fletching in your hands, and we want to stay involved with you."
Tell everybody not familiar with bows and arrows what you're talking about. Those terms you just
fletching.
Used.
Okay, all right.
And the main.
Okay, on a standard arrow shaft, we used to do it years and years ago with a turkey feather, and it's simply the vein that guides the arrow through the air.
The little tails.
That's right. In recent years, they're made out of plastic, and they're bonded on there, generally with a cyanoacrylate, better named super glue.
Yeah.
And carbon is inherently very difficult to stick to. And anybody that's ever fletched an arrow knows that. You can try as you might, and you'll get a pretty good stick there, but after a while, it's inevitably going to fail. So we decided, let's do something about that. We got great technology in today's bows. Let's do something to make the arrow work harder, get all the technology out of the bow we can. Well, we developed NuFletch, and the unique property of the product is it works simply by removing 2.5 inches off the back end of the arrow and putting a common insert just like you would for your broadhead.
Oh, wow.
Guys are familiar with that part of it. So you just basically take the product out of the pack. It goes onto the carbon shaft.
So let me put this in layman terms. Right. The back end screws off of it.
That's exactly right.
All right. Don't have to deal with the gluing and all that.
And that's exactly right. And this is the part that most people see the immediate benefit is. Now, if we're out there shooting and you get to be a good shot like Miss Lee over there and you knock a vein off, I'm not giving Travis nothing. No. Anyways, you knock a vein off, you can just simply replace the vein by removing it now.
Right.
And it makes it handy and modular. You can carry your arrows around and not worry about damaging the fletch. You can replace them in the field as simple as just
sliding it on there.
So you've taken away what the disadvantage to the carbon arrow was. You couldn't stick to it. And you said, you know what? We won't stick to it. We'll build something else to stick it to, and we'll just screw that into the carbon arrow.
And you've got it. And
easy to change them in and out, easy to replace.
In the field.
And that's exactly right. And then it comes down to once you make the product, as archers, we've been beat up by the market. We've been told you can't add any weight to a shaft or much weight in the back because it won't perform properly. So that becomes hurdle one for my company. How do you defeat that? You gotta get some folks out there to shoot it. You got to do some testing. And that's where we went with Lee and Travis. I met them at a trade show, and I tell you, I met them. I didn't see anything other than exactly what you see today and what you're going to see with these folks. Good, wholesome, heart-loving, God-fearing people. And I'm telling you, you meet a bunch of folks out there, and I feel very privileged to work with them. They're getting the job done for us. They're out there. They're showing folks that, hey, you can take this product and you can make it work with you, and it gives you a useful tool. How it does it, it's a little bit complex, but we can make it simple. It's basically when you insert the tail end of the product into the shaft, it's going to stiffen your arrow shaft. And it's very easy to control a stiffer arrow shaft than it is something that's got a lot of oscillation in it waving through the sky. So what we do, I see you over there laughing. So what we do is,
I'm just thinking how ingenious this is.
Yeah. So
how simple.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And I tell you, I wish I had a nickel for every time somebody walked up to my booth and said that exact word. Hey, that is. Why didn't I think of that?
Well, but those are always the best inventions.
It is. It's simple.
Something that everybody.
right.
It was so simple, no one did it.
That's
It
exactly
took
right.
the time to deal with it.
That's right.
Because you still had to engineer all that out and the weight issue. I mean,
right.
that takes time
Simple
to do.
but
And a lot
complex.
of people are not going to.
That's exactly right.
The idea is simple. The pulling it off, it was complex, and you had the expertise and could see it in your mind to
Right.
make it happen. And Lee, what are the results out in the field?
Oh, incredible. For me, I pull 45, 46 pounds, and for me to get pass-throughs, knock on wood, on all my animals, I mean, it just hits hard and straight and fast. And I think for any bow hunter, it's all about confidence, and it takes out that, oh, God, am I going to just wound it or am I going to hit? I mean, it's pounds at 27 yards. I dropped that big buck that you're referring to on the poster. Travis just killed too many to put on there.
Yeah, right.
Okay, but that's the point, because at the end of the day, the hunter
Right.
goes, okay, it's simple,
right.
it's easy, it's not a hassle, but does it get the job done?
That's right.
Because a hunter's going to hassle through something and get the job done versus something as simple and doesn't do as well. So this is brought simplicity, but the performance still there.
It is. It's a simple.
Or maybe even advanced the performance.
Oh,
Well,
I think so.
definitely think.
Absolutely. And I tell
Because
you,
you can keep the guides
Yeah.
in in a more what I'm trying to say 100% situation and keep them accurate
Takes the
because
flaws out.
you're
does.
not destroying that every time you shoot,
It
having
puts
to
and I
fire
tell you,
something not 100%.
And how you can address it is we talk about consistency around the arrow. Each fletch is 120 degrees around the shaft. If you knock one off out in the field and you try and glue that on with a fletching jig,
Oh, man.
Yeah,
you
good
can't do
luck.
it. You can't do it. So it makes you consistent.
You end up sticking your fingers together and having to hitchhike home,
I'll ruin the table like I did at my house, and I
There
got
it
enough
is.
knots.
Yeah, you remember that, don't you?
I remember it.
Yeah,
So,
we all remember that.
Obviously, how long has this been available?
We developed the product in 2009. It's gone through some changes. Last year was the first time we put it out, made it available.
Upgrade, you mean?
That's right. We've upgraded it, and it's been doing very well. And I think it boils down to is we know there's a hurdle with hesitation. Archers are like fly submission. We're going to try something, but it's going to take us a while to do it. And Robbie can tell you for sure over there at his place, once a guy gets onto the product and starts to shoot it, by golly, they'll come back and they'll buy some more and they'll use it.
Well, speaking of shooting, we're going to do some of that when we come back. I mean, we got it set up out here at the Broadcast Plaza and Teleport. We're going to watch Lee and Travis shoot, and we'll see the product at work. You can find out more about it. Maybe you heard about NuFletch for the first time. Maybe you've heard about, the Chase and Lee and Travis for the first time. You can meet them this Saturday, Rough and Tough Outdoors, Chelsea, Alabama. If you listen out of the Birmingham area or some of the markets that are near there, all that information is in show notes today. They'll be there this Saturday, 9 till 6. Speedy and Greg will join them 9 to 11. We'll be right back. We'll do some shooting right here at the Plaza next.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
We are back. You're listening to the Rick and Bubba Show. Bubba and I have now moved outside the Broadcast Plaza and Teleport, where we will watch Lee and Travis show us what they can do with a bow, Bubba. And we have we've got a decoy deer set up ready for action.
Rick, we have a lovely decoy set up. We also have adequate protection behind it, although we may need to scoot it to the left just a touch, but we'll work that out.
Bubba, it is this is going to really, you know how every time you see an act or something like that, say a circus act, and someone says it is set up to where it has to work or else there's going to be other problems, and it really adds to the excitement. I think we have that here.
Yeah, Rick, we saw that with a wing walker last week, I believe.
Oh, if you want to meet Lee and Travis, you can. Rough and Tough Outdoors in Chelsea, Alabama this Saturday if you're listening in that part of the world on 104.7 WZZK or the afternoon replay on 97.3 The Buck. And Speedy and Greg will join them between 9 and 11 this Saturday. They'll be there from 9 until 6, and they'll be in the indoor facility there, and they'll be shooting. And what we're about to see, Travis, is some of the things that Speedy and Greg will be attempting as well.
That's right. That's right. We'll see what we can do to direct them in the right direction that way.
I was about to say, you think that you can get Greg and Speedy shooting with some sort of accuracy in that short amount of time?
I figure if we can get close enough to it.
If you're, hey, am I on? If hello, am I on? Check. If you're close enough that you could actually jump on the deer and wrestle it down, have you really solved anything?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you get so close that really if you just dropped on its back and stabbed it, that's not really what we're trying to accomplish. So what will we be doing right now? Like what is Lee about to do?
Well, I think Lee is getting her release on and getting her bow ready. She's ready. Look, she's got her pretty pink little bow stand there. And she's going to range this. How far do you think that is, baby?
20 from where I'm standing? 15?
I was going to say 15 right here. It feels about
yards.
like that out pattern right here.
Okay, well let's have a look now. Will she be using the NuFletch?
She will be using the NuFletch. We only use NuFletch.
All right. Well, that's exactly what
And
John
Rick,
wanted to hear.
And we have another gentleman here. I don't sure. Is this the owner? What is this? Who are you, sir?
No, this is Robbie from Rough and Tough. I do the archery. I manage archery there.
Okay, you're the archery manager.
Archery
okay,
manager,
thank you for
not
clarifying
Let's
that.
clarify that.
Okay.
Bubba. Thank you.
Even though he is very tough.
Yes, he is. He is.
All right, so here we go.
So what are we shooting today? We'll let you set this up as Lee gets ready to shoot here. What bow are we shooting? And tell us a little bit about this very advanced compound bow.
All right, well, Travis and Lee are both, they're sponsored with Matthews, and here at the store, we actually just became a new Matthews. We're the newest Matthews dealer in Birmingham. And the new bow for this year that they'll be shooting is called a Z7 Extreme, and it is a very, very awesome shooting bow. One of the quietest, smoothest bows out there. It's a 28-inch bow axle to axle, which is a short, compact bow, which is great for tree stand hunting if you're hunting in a blind. The bow, like I said, you'll see here in just a minute, they're super smooth and super quiet.
I will say this, the modern compound bow is a little different than what you used to see the Indians shoot at the Cowboys.
Yes, and if Tonto had one of those, we would have no deer or elk, I don't think. But
as a matter of fact, we may not be here today. We all may be living in the old teepee.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's amazing the technology. You know, it's people refer to these bows kind of like computers sometimes. You know, the guy buys a bow 3 years ago, and then, like I said, it's the technology's taken over. But they're just incredible bows.
As a matter of fact, this is the only bow, Rick, that could have defeated the Firewater.
Well, here we go. So, Travis, are you up first? All right, Travis will shoot first. And Bubba, I'm telling you,
Travis,
you look at these bows, it looks like something out of Mad Max.
I mean, Rick, I've been around bow hunting before. I haven't shot in several years, but I'm gonna tell you that look at the technology in this. How you can range them. You have the illuminated guide on it. The holes that you used to have just improved. And look at the pull and the release that Travis has on that. Isn't that amazing? This is like something you use on the space shuttle. You know,
it does. All right, let's see how he does. No pressure. All right, he's
back.
Oh, wow.
I would say that is a direct hit.
I mean, that's right through the old heart and bursting the lungs, exploding everything that matters.
Rick, you know, we have a section that you aim for that can be replaced on this decoy deer, and then you have a bullseye, and then you have a smaller bullseye. Then there's like a cross in the middle where they lined it up to paint it, and Travis just centered that.
Yeah, and I love that easy to find because of the light there on the end of it.
I love that illumination tip on there.
Hey, illuminated tip, number
one.
Look,
I mean, it's broad daylight out here. I can see that. I mean, running through the woods, it's going to look like that deer's got a lightsaber on. You know, I mean, come on.
All right, now Lee comes up. Now, I guess she has to be able – is she going to do like Robin Hood and split it right down the middle?
Please do that. Will you Robin Hood that? That would be so awesome.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right, so she's – look,
she's
she's even got pink
I know it.
bow and arrow.
Always stylish.
Little fletch on there's pink. All right, here we go. And she's
Lee, who we call the face of the chase.
That's right. Look, she's really rocking it back, and she's getting a lot. And Travis is acting like he's involved. All right, she shot it a little higher than Travis, which you'll have to hear about all the way home.
But I'm gonna tell you, that deer right there doesn't take another step, Rick. That deer there will not move.
No, outstanding shot. I just know Travis is saying that he shot it better. That's all I'm saying. I mean, great shot.
You're not using the, what is the proper term on this, the tip that lights up? I'm not saying it right.
They're called Luminox. It's a lighted tip. Yeah, there's
Luminox.
several different ones on the market. Luminox is going to be probably the brightest one that's out there.
All right, here she goes again. She's shooting again. Oh, wow.
Oh,
now she's got it dialed in.
Right up in there.
Now she's dialed in.
I'm going to tell you that high one, though, Rick, that right there, that brings the deer right down.
It does. I'm just talking about trash talking.
Sure.
No question she killed the deer, but I just know that Travis was reminding her until she put hers right beside it that he had shot better than she. I mean, both of you are excellent shots. But if you went best out of 10, would she outshoot you?
You know, there's a good probability of that.
Do you think it's the female touch or the fact she's willing to work at it more than you are?
I'm not just saying that because she's standing behind me with a weapon. But women do seem to shoot better. They put the egos aside, they listen to advice, and then follow through. So there is something to that.
Travis, what is your? Let me just. I don't get too depth here. I know we're in depth. We got. What's our time?
You got 2 minutes.
What do you do on your breathing? I hear different theories on breathing. Are you an exhaler? Do you inhale and hold your breath? How do you do it?
The most important thing for me is to just keep breathing. Just breathe through, follow through on the shot. Don't put too much tension on the bow. Hold the bow real soft. Don't grip the bow real hard. You torque it, and just breathe and just release the trigger and let the trigger kind of surprise you.
I can speak from someone that likes to hold their breath. If the deer makes an unexpected move behind brush, you can pass out before you ever shoot.
Now, Lee, for all the ladies out there listening, you know, you felt like that God was showing you guys that if you were going to spend more time together, the odds of Travis becoming someone who likes to pick out shoes as opposed to you becoming someone who likes to hunt, you made the right choice. But, I mean, a lot of ladies out there may be thinking, well, I just don't know if this is something that I can put the time into learning. How did this happen? Did you pick it up pretty quick?
I did, and it helps to have a great teacher. Travis is very humble in saying that great shot, but great teaching and listening, even just target practicing before you really think about hunting. It's fun just to sit out in the backyard and target practice and with kids or whatever, your husband.
Of course, completely safe with adequate backstop. If you're shooting
always completely safe with an adequate backstop. And let's face it, I mean, Travis is breaking new ground to try to make the word WB be something positive as opposed to negative, and that, of course, is a wife bringer. And you know, sometimes that'll turn the hunting camp upside down. But